What is up, Cowboys Nation? Buckle up because today, we are diving into what might be one of the most shocking, unbelievable, and potentially franchise-altering developments in recent NFL memory. That's right, if you've read the thumbnail and heard the buzz, you already know what I'm about to say, and no, you're not dreaming. Myles Garrett, yes, that Myles Garrett, one of the most dominant edge rushers in the game today, is headed to Dallas in what's being called an absolutely blockbuster trade deal. I know it sounds like something straight out of Madden franchise mode, right? But this isn't fantasy football, folks. This is as real as it gets, and the implications for the Dallas Cowboys, the NFC, and frankly, the entire league are massive. So sit tight because we are going to break it all down for you, how it happened, why it happened, what this means for the team, for the fans, and where the Cowboys go from here. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of this trade, let's take a moment to appreciate just who we're talking about. Myles Garrett isn't just another talented edge rusher. He's a generational talent, a former number 1 overall pick, a defensive player of the year, and a certified game wrecker. He's the kind of player who doesn't just impact a play, he impacts entire game plans. Teams have to scheme around him. Quarterbacks have nightmares about him. Offensive linemen study his tape with anxiety. Garrett is an absolute freak of nature, combining size, speed, strength, and a motor that never quits. He's one of the few players in the league who can take over a game on defense, and now he's about to be wearing the star on his helmet. Let that sink in. Now, I can already hear you asking, how in the world did this happen? How did the Cowboys pull this off? Well, it all started brewing months ago when rumblings began surfacing that Garrett was growing frustrated with the direction of the Browns. Despite a dominant defense, they just couldn't get over the hump. The offense struggled with consistency, the quarterback situation remained in flux, and the Super Bowl window appeared to be closing rather than opening. Garrett, still in his prime, wanted more. He wanted to compete. He wanted rings. And quietly, behind the scenes, whispers began circulating that if the right team came calling with the right vision and a shot at winning, he'd be open to a move. Enter the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Jerry Jones may be many things: controversial, stubborn, wildly opinionated, but he is not blind to talent. And after another disappointing playoff exit, he knew something had to change. The defense had been solid, but there was a glaring need for more dominance off the edge, especially with teams like the Eagles and 49ers loading up. Pairing Garrett with Micah Parsons? That wasn't just a move, it was a statement. It was the kind of bold, all-in maneuver that says, we're not here to play around. We're here to win it all. And so, the Cowboys got to work. Negotiations began slowly, quietly, behind the scenes. At first, people thought it was nothing more than smoke and mirrors. But slowly, the wheels began turning. Sources started hinting at the Cowboys shopping their first-round pick. Then the chatter intensified. And then boom, the news hit like a thunderclap. Dallas had struck a deal. The terms? Painful, no doubt. A 2026 first-rounder, a third-round pick, and a promising young defensive tackle were shipped off to Cleveland. But in return, the Cowboys received one of the most fearsome pass rushers the league has seen in the past decade. Fans erupted. Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, basically exploded. Half the league's fan bases were in shock, the other half in jealousy, and Cowboys Nation? Well, we were somewhere between tears of joy and hyperventilation. And look, let's not sugarcoat it, this move changes everything. The NFC landscape just shifted in a big way. Picture this: on one side of the line, you've got Myles Garrett coming at you with violent hands, incredible bend, and explosive first-step quickness. On the other side, Micah Parsons, the do-it-all defensive freak who's already being talked about as a future Hall of Famer. There isn't a single offensive line in football that can handle both of them without sacrificing their game plan. You want to double Garrett? Good luck with Parsons one-on-one. You want to chip Micah? Garrett's eating your lunch. It's a lose-lose situation for offenses. This is going to be chaos in the best way possible. But it's not just about those two. The ripple effect of having Garrett on this team will benefit everyone. DeMarcus Lawrence is going to see cleaner looks. The secondary will have more opportunities to make plays because quarterbacks won't have time to throw. Trayvon Diggs, coming back from injury, might just feast with more errant balls being rushed into the air. This defense just went from great to terrifying, and we haven't even played a snap. But what about the salary cap, you ask? Good question. This wasn't cheap. Garrett's contract is massive, and the Cowboys are still figuring out a monster extension for Micah Parsons. But here's the thing: you make this move because championship windows don't stay open forever. You go get elite talent when it's available. And Dallas did just that. They're betting on winning now, not 5 years from now. And honestly, that's the right call. Because if not now, when? The NFC is wide open. The Eagles look vulnerable. The 49ers are strong, but beatable. The Lions are coming, but still young. The time is now. But let's also take a step back and look at what this means for the locker room. Garrett brings leadership, tenacity, and a no-nonsense attitude. He's respected around the league not just for his play, but for his work ethic and how he carries himself. Pair that with Micah, who brings the fire, the swagger, the energy, and you have a dynamic that could redefine the culture of this defense. And maybe, just maybe, this is what it takes to bring a Super Bowl back to Dallas. Let's not forget it's been nearly 3 decades. That's too long. Cowboys fans are starving. They've been loyal, passionate, loud, and yes, at times frustrated, but they've never stopped believing. Moves like this show that ownership is listening. That they hear the fans. That they want to win. And that matters. Of course, this move also raises some questions. What happens with Micah's extension? Will he still be the highest paid defensive player after Garrett? Will egos clash, or will this become the most dangerous duo the league has ever seen? Only time will tell. But from the way both players have spoken publicly, there's nothing but respect. Micah has literally said he'd take less money to play with Garrett. And Garrett has made it clear he wants to win, not just rack up stats. If they can check their egos at the door and focus on the prize, the sky is the limit. One thing is for sure: this season just got a whole lot more interesting. The Cowboys have been stuck in the same loop for years: great regular seasons, heartbreaking playoff exits. But now, there's hope. Real hope. Hope that this team can break the curse, silence the doubters, and finally make that deep playoff run fans have been waiting for. And look, I'm not here to guarantee a Super Bowl. This is the NFL, nothing is guaranteed. But what I am saying is this: the Cowboys just made one of the boldest moves in recent memory, and it shows they're serious about competing at the highest level. They're not settling for good enough. They're swinging for the fences. And if this works, if Garrett and Parsons become the terrorizing tandem we all think they can be, the rest of the league better watch out. So what do you think, Cowboys Nation? Is this the move that finally puts us over the top? Was the price too high, or do you believe like I do that this was a move we had to make? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, if you're hyped like I am, make sure you hit that like button, smash subscribe, and ring the notification bell, because we're going to be covering this story all season long, from training camp to kickoff to the playoffs and beyond. You won't want to miss it. This is more than just a trade, it's a signal to the entire NFL that the Dallas Cowboys are coming. And they're coming hard. Get ready.